Welcome to Sleeping with Sarah. I'm Sarah Albritton, a narcoleptic comedian, and this is a podcast where I interview people in my bed. We talk about sleep, comedy, relationships, and more. We are now part of the Laugh Factory Podcast Network, and for my 32nd episode, I had comedian Stephen King in my bed. We get into it talking about Catholic guilt, talking about pretending to fall asleep, getting into experimental comedy. We nerd out on Pixar and Harry Potter, and we talk about the creation of his Yeezus parody show, Steezus, The Life of Papa John. Stephen will be performing Steezus, The Life of Papa John tonight, Wednesday, October 19th, on the Comedy Central stage in LA. It's at 8 p.m. and it's free. It's going to be jam-packed, full of performances and videos, special cameos, stand-up from special guests like Ian Abramson, the Putterball Sisters, Megan Gailey, and more. You can also catch Stephen at the Hollywood Improv tomorrow night, October 20th, for the Comedians You Should Know show. And you can follow Stephen on Twitter at Steezus_Christ. That's STEZUS_Christ. Sleeping with Sarah is brought to you by Audible.com. Go to audibletrial.com/sleepingwithsarah to get a free audiobook of your choice. This week I'd like to recommend Kiss Me Like a Stranger by Gene Wilder. Again, that's audibletrial.com/sleepingwithsarah. Please remember to rate and review on iTunes and iHeartRadio, and follow me on Twitter at Sarah Albritton. Well, let's get started with the show. Welcome to Sleeping with Sarah. I'm Sarah Albritton, and this is my guest, Stephen King.
Hey, how you doing?
Not the author, but the comedian.
Yep.
How'd you sleep last night, Stephen?
I slept well. I watched the episode of Westworld. Have you seen that show?
No idea what that show is.
Oh, it's on HBO. It's about robots. Anyway, I watched it, and I went to bed like around 1, and then my girlfriend got home like around 3.
Oh, so she worked late.
Yeah, she's a server at a restaurant.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So you guys have like similar sleep things?
No, it's the opposite. Because, we have opposite schedules, and usually I go to bed like at 10, and then she wakes me up like at 3 a.m.
What?
Coming from work.
Oh, wow.
It's not like she wakes me up on purpose.
Oh, yeah. Are you a light sleeper?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, anything will wake me up.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. It's been hard on... like the first month when she started working there, it was like really hard on our relationship.
Really?
Yeah, because I just be cranky all the time. Because she'd wake me up.
And he'd be like, why'd you wake me up? And she'd be like, I didn't mean to.
Yeah, and, and like you feel like... the first month it's like I wake up and it's like, how was your day? How much money did you make today? And now I've gotten to the point where I don't care whenever she come home.
Yeah.
Because I trust her.
Yeah, that's good. That's a good level you get at, because you trust her.
Yeah.
So do you have any weird sleep stuff aside from being like a light sleeper?
No, I think I just stay up super late. Like, it's just hard for me.
Wait, 10 p.m. isn't that late?
Well, I mean, like, I'll pretend like I'm sleeping, but I'm actually, like, awake the whole time.
So, wait, do you think that if you pretend enough, that you'll just fall asleep?
Yeah. Isn't that how it works?
Are you trying to just trick yourself to... I guess I don't really know those tricks because I just fall asleep whenever I want. So, for me, it's really easy.
No, I just, pretend like I'm sleeping and just let the time pass by.
How long do you lay there pretending to sleep before you go to sleep?
Till the next day.
What?
I just wait till the next day.
You don't even fall asleep till the next day?
Yeah, I just stay awake, I guess, but because I don't want to be a disturbance and be awake, so I'll just pretend like I'm asleep. Does that make sense?
I'm a little confused. Is this because of the girlfriend or because of just roommates or just
in general? If I force myself that I have to sleep, I'll just pretend like I'm sleeping, but I'm actually awake for an entire night.
And you just lay there and you don't do anything?
I'll turn around. I'll probably play Candy Crush or something, but
So I don't understand. What are you worried about disturbing?
If I can't, it's night and you're supposed to be in bed, so I'm gonna be in bed.
But you could be writing or doing something like that.
I feel like if I keep forcing myself like I'm pretending I'm sleeping, I'm eventually gonna fall asleep. I'm very much like, I'm afraid of going to hell. Like,
You're afraid of going to hell?
Yeah.
Like, okay, so are you Catholic, or?
I used to be, but, like, I still have that in me, so I feel like if I do something that is, like, outside of the norm, then...
So staying up past once the sun goes down is, like, not...
I don't know. I can't explain why.
No, I think it's very interesting. I'm very curious.
I think I still have Catholic guilt.
Yeah. I was brought up, I think I still have a little bit of guilt. I went to Catholic school until I was like 9 or 10.
Oh, yeah?
And then I went to a non-denominational private school, and then in 8th grade my parents wanted me to go through confirmation, and I went through the classes, and like halfway through I was like one of those hard-headed kids, and I was like asking questions that they couldn't answer, and like I was the one that everyone's like, God, why is this little girl like asking these hard questions that's making everybody else question this? And I was a total jerk about it, but I told my parents, I was like, I'm not really feeling this, can I just not do this? And they were like, okay.
So you were like early on atheist?
I'm not atheist, I'm agnostic. I believe in higher powers. I've said this before. I believe that Christianity is, I think most religions, the grounding of it is you want to have a moral basis for life, and like what is right or wrong. They're a series of stories. Yeah. And I think that if we're gonna count Christianity as valid, Scientology, all these other places, whatever, all these other religions, I think that they're just as valid as like Greek mythology. And so, like, I loved reading Greek mythology stories in, like, high school, and I was like, you know what, like, if you think about it, God is Zeus, Jesus is Hercules, half man, half, thing, and all the saints and apostles are all the gods and goddesses that get into crazy shit. Yeah. It all, like, translates into being a very similar story, so I was like, well, who knows, in 1,000 years they might say that Christianity was all BS, and it was a Christianity myths, there'll be a book of Christian myths, or something like that, like they did for Greek mythology.
I got kicked out of confirmation class because I drew a penis.
Oh, that is a good way to get kicked out. That's awesome.
Yeah, I just didn't want to be there, so I thought if I drew a penis they'd kick me out.
And they did.
Yeah, they did.
Where did you draw the penis?
We were playing Pictionary, and I think mine was like Moses. I just drew a penis with like
in front of the whole class.
Yeah, with like hairs on the balls and stuff. Yeah, I drew. Yeah, and then they wrote a letter to all the parents about it. And, yeah,
they're just like Stephen King is just.
They generalized the whole class, but it was actually me. Like, your kids are being inappropriate, and you should tell them how to act.
Tell them to keep their penis drawings to themselves. Yeah. Were you always doing, like, crazy, funny pranks like that as a kid? I feel like you're a prankster.
In high school, they made us make, like, a sex ed video.
Wait, they made you make a sex ed video?
Yeah, we learned, we had a whole course on, like, venereal diseases, and we had to make, like, an instructional video on, like, why safe sex is important.
Okay.
It was like 2004.
Okay.
So I did the whole video as if I was Borat. And I was interviewing like the vice principal of the school, who was like the meanest lady, and I told her I was going to do an interview, but she didn't know I was going to come in as Borat.
So you dressed up like Borat and you did the voice.
Yeah, and then she played it straight the whole time. Like at one point she's talking about like intercourse or something, and then I was like, "Oh, do you mean like sexy time?" And then she was like, "Yes, Stephen, I mean sexy time." And that was like when I realized I wanted to do comedy, after I made a Borat video
about venereal diseases. Is that video still somewhere?
Yeah, I think hopefully they show it every year.
Wait, you made the video that they show every year in school?
I think it's the one.
Oh my god, you should call them and see if they still have it.
That's the example, like you gotta be, yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, I gotta call Bishop Kelly and see if it's still there.
Where'd you grow up?
Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Ah, Oklahoma. Mm-hmm. That's crazy, man. That's cool. So you hadn't done, was there a lot of improv or sketch or stand-up or anything there that you were exposed to, or was it just you kind of creating characters on your own?
I started driving when I was 18 years old, and then I did my first open mic when I was 19, and then just did comedy at the local comedy club, the Blue Collar Comedy Club, and then I did improv at a church, like for kids, and yeah, that's kind of how I started doing comedy. But before that, I was making like little YouTube videos with my brother and sister.
Yeah, just like fun, silly stuff.
Yeah.
That was like early days of YouTube then. Early-ish?
2008.
Oh, well, yeah, well.
Yeah, I mean, it was right after like Lonely Island became popular,
Yeah.
and me and my brother and my sister were like obsessed with them.
So like your brother and sister, do they do comedy too?
No, they're younger, and my sister, I think she's going to be a lawyer, and my brother is on his way to go to school to develop video games.
Oh, video games?
Yeah.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah, but they're funnier than me. My sister's like the funniest person in the family.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, it's not even
She wants to
close.
be a lawyer? That's like the least funny job.
No, I literally I came to Chicago to take a Second City class just so I could impress my sister, because she's the one that like read an entire book about Second City.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And she never came to do a class?
No, like she just did, it's weird. Like my brother's also really, really funny. Like really funny. But, yeah, well, everyone has...
Their thing.
Yeah.
So you just moved here. Did you not know anybody when you moved here?
I knew one person. And there was my first roommate, Jack Bensinger. But yeah, I would go to open mics not knowing anybody. I knew Sam Norton.
Yeah? How'd you know Sam Norton?
Because he used to feature at the club I used to perform at all the time. Yeah.
Well, he's a good person to know. He's great.
Yeah, no, I didn't know anybody until I thought I remember like feeling like I made a huge mistake moving to Chicago, because I bombed so hard at Lottie's open mic.
Yeah.
That I was like, I gotta move back. And
this has been your first... How many years have you been doing stand-up at this point?
like 2 or 3 years.
Okay.
Because I did like 2 or 3 years of stand-up in Oklahoma, but like my stand-up was so bad because I was like pandering to that audience.
Oh, yeah. And it's just also you probably only get to go up a couple times a week.
Yeah, like I probably get to perform like maybe like twice a month.
Oh, that's it? Twice a month?
If I was lucky.
Oh, but was there no mics?
There was like one mic. It was a coffee shop, but it was mostly like for like artists and poets and stuff.
Oh, man, so you could only perform twice a month? That's hard.
So yeah, because it was an open mic where you had to like draw, and so not everyone got to go up, and there'd be people like that would come every week, and they wouldn't get to go up for like months.
That sucks.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
I think if there was that much of a demand that they maybe make it a little bit more often. Like if there are that many people trying to go to get drawn up.
Yeah, so that's why I had to move. Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So wait, so you bombed really hard and you wanted to move?
Yeah, and then I performed in a basement with the Island of Misfit Toys.
Okay.
Which was Blake Burkhart, Dave Marr, Nicky Martin, John Marjalewski, David Rader, John Idy. Like we all were like part of like this new class. Dane Arden too, and all, we performed at this place called This Is Not an Open Mic. J. Michael Osborne. I feel like I'm forgetting people.
I've heard of This Is Not an Open Mic.
And then that was like the first time I killed. And that was the first time Nick killed too, and
Nicky
Martin, yeah. And it was like I felt like home for the first time. Yeah, that mic was monumental. I felt it was like the equivalent of like when the people that created Pixar like had their lunch and they started talking about Toy Story for the first time.
Yeah,
that's how that mic felt.
Because then they talked about all these other stories leading up to what was the word about Wall-E?
Yeah.
I watched that extra stuff too.
Yeah.
I fucking nerd out on that.
Yeah, I'm obsessed. I'm a big Pixar fan, but it felt like the beginning of something. And as you could see, like
all those guys are still doing really cool things. And
and everything was good from there.
And so then do you still? I know you said you took improv classes. Did you still do improv, or like? Because I know you do a lot of characters, and you kind of.
Yeah, I quit improv like a few months ago just to focus on this.
Yeah.
Stand up and just doing like my solo shows, and which was hard because improv. I made the best friends doing improv.
You make a lot of good friends doing improv. It's fun, but the thing is, I don't know. I think it's such a different because I came from the improv sketch world too.
Yeah.
I think it's such a different vibe of people. Like improv, you go to one class and it's like, oh, let's all go have drinks afterwards. And by the end of the night, you're all best friends. But stand up, it's like you have to earn your respect and earn your friendships, and it's a very different path. In terms of doing that. And I was like, I remember going to my first open mic. I didn't know anybody. I didn't like tell anyone I was doing it. I just decided on a whim to do it, and it was a very weird thing. But I remember Ashley Corby and Alex Selkson were there. And they both talked to me afterwards because there weren't many girls at the mic. And they told me to keep doing it, and so I was like, all right,
Yeah, I still get weirded out when like Jeff Arcuri like compliments me.
Yeah,
because I remember like being so intimidated by him, and like he's an example of so many other people, and just being like, I thought those guys would never like me.
Yeah, there's still some people I think will never like me, but you know what? Fuck them. They're not listening to this. Unless they're like hate listening to this.
Yeah.
Who knows? But no.
Some people do.
Some people do that. Well, then shout out to you guys.
Yeah.
No, I don't know. I think that it is a weird thing. Like some people, you'll never win over some people, but there are some people I super respect in the scene, and when you do get a compliment from them, it's like even if it's from like a mic or something, or like I remember like Adam Burke, and I like when he first said that, I was like, oh yeah, okay, that's cool, like because he's just around and it's fun.
It is it was surreal. I think it's weird that I think of these things because it's so superficial, but like when Marlena Rodriguez complimented me, like when I was like starting out doing stand up, I felt like I was like on cloud 9.
Yeah.
Because I loved her so much, and I respected her, and I loved her doing stand up, and it was like wow. Same with Ian Abramson, like still like I'm still
Ian's such a nice guy.
He's the best.
I still want to talk to him and find out about how his, like, because he always has all these pictures of him, like, falling asleep places.
Yeah.
And I, like, love that, but I'm just like, where did that start? I want to know.
He's great.
Yeah.
He's a good coach.
Yeah, did he coach you? Was he, like, your mentor?
I remember one time I was crossing the street, and I saw Ian, and Ian was walking toward Shuba's, and I was walking the other direction. And Ian was like, "Why are you not going to Shuba's?" And I was like, I don't want to go there. I don't think nobody there likes me. I don't want to perform. I feel like I'm gonna bomb. And then Ian put his coach hat on, and he was like, "No, you're gonna turn around and you're gonna go to Shuba's and you're gonna go and perform. All right? Who gives a fuck what they say? Like I don't feel comfortable there, so you shouldn't feel comfortable there." And I was like, "Okay, yeah, okay, fine." And then,
like a good student, you just like follow it.
Oh yeah,
you're like,
absolutely.
Hey, if I don't listen to Ian, maybe I'll end up in hell.
Ian's like, yeah, exactly. He's like, you got to do these mics, you got to do this one, you got to do that one. And I was like, all right. So I cherish those moments.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
I want to circle back really quick about Pixar. You said you're obsessed with Pixar?
Yeah.
What do you think about the theory about them all being in the same world, just different timelines?
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah.
Why not? Like American Horror Story.
I have not seen American Horror Story.
Yeah. I haven't seen Finding Dory yet.
I haven't seen that either. I haven't seen a lot of the sequels. Like, I never saw Cars 2. I didn't see Monsters University.
Cars 2 is so underrated. I was watching Cars 2 on the Disney Channel, And I was like, oh, what the fuck? Why not? And I was entertained the whole time. So people that crap on Cars 2, they got another thing coming.
I could very much see you as a character in Pixar, like a Pixar character.
Oh, that's high praise. I appreciate that. I'm obsessed. Bill Hader, just like...
He did the voice of, BB-8, right?
BB-8, yeah, true. And then he did the voice of one of the emotions in Inside Out.
And Mindy Kaling, who else? Mindy Kaling did one of the voices. She was Envy.
Who's the...
And Amy Poehler was Joy.
Who's the anger guy? Louis Black.
Louis Black, yeah.
Yeah. After Bill Hader left SNL, he just hung out at Pixar for a few months just so he could learn their ways.
What?
I would love
learn their ways. It sounds like a Jedi thing. It's hey, come into the secret society and learn the ways of Pixar. You must bring your own lamp.
I bet you they all follow the Illuminati at Pixar. They're probably big.
That would be kind of a fun sketch.
Yeah.
Do you like the Illuminati of Pixar?
Absolutely.
Right?
They're into some fucked up shit.
Yeah. So if you were a Pixar character, like any kind of inanimate object, what would you be?
Could I pick an original one?
Yeah.
I feel like
I feel like you already have it in your head. Like when you get to the point where they're like, hey, we want to bring you in for voiceover, be like, all right, I got these 5 ideas for movies. Let's do them.
I feel like if I took one of those BuzzFeed quizzes, like which Pixar character are you, I think mine would be Mike Wazowski.
Oh my god, I could see But you said you have some in your head?
Of Pixar characters?
In their style, but like you said, you have an original one?
Original one. I don't know, probably like Andy, but like 25 and still plays with his toys.
He never gives them away.
Oh
my god, I watched that movie on a plane and I just was bawling the whole time, and I was like, there are some Pixar movies that if you watch them and you don't cry, you have no soul.
What moment Toy Story 3 do you feel the tears coming? Do you lose it? What specific moment?
It's the idea of well, definitely at the end when he lets go.
Yeah.
And then also when when
they're about to die.
When they're about to die. And also with the big with the evil guy.
Yeah. When
Luxo, his flashback. Man, I'm just recalling it all. Sorry, spoiler alerts, guys.
I'm gonna make you cry.
No, you're not gonna make me. Is that your goal, to make me cry?
So
Up. The first 20 minutes of Up gets me every time. Now, that is a good example of amazing storytelling without having to use any words.
Visuals, huh? With visuals. No, I'll tell you, the opening of Up doesn't make me cry.
What?
It doesn't.
It doesn't?
No, but I'll tell you what does make me cry is the ending when Carl gives the kid the Ellie badge.
Oh.
It was a great callback.
It was a great...
that moment is man.
It's like a sad callback. It's like the opposite of a comedy callback. It's
it's a sad callback.
It's like a heartbearking callback.
But it closes the book perfectly.
It's like always with Harry Potter. I'm a big Potter nerd too.
Oh yeah? Mm-hmm. I'm going to Harry Potter World next month.
I've been there. It's so much fun. Okay, God, we're getting way nerdy, so excuse us. But I don't have a wand, but because I've been there. I went there in December.
Yeah.
So they have all these little spots in both areas
where you could use the wands, right?
Yeah. So, but I didn't realize how many spots they had, because when you use the wand, something happens. Water will spurt out, a light will turn on.
How much do those wands cost?
$20, $25.
Okay.
Next time I go, I think I'm gonna buy one. Yeah. But it's really cool. You have to go to both. You have to get the ticket for both of the parks and then take the train in between. It's really cool.
Cool.
Yeah, I just reread all the books because I read the play, and then I was like, I missed the books, and I reread them, and they're way easier to read as an adult.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, I bet. My girlfriend and I just started watching the movies again.
Well, they're about to release them all on IMAX the next 2 weeks.
Oh, dope.
To lead up to the next thing.
Which one's your favorite?
For
me, it's No Question.
Well, I love the last 2 movies. If you're talking movies, books, I liked Order of the Phoenix a lot.
Okay.
I also like the last one. The sixth one, I don't know. I like the last three a lot, I think. Yeah. What about you?
Prisoner of Azkaban.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Best book and best movie. In my opinion.
That's good.
Especially movie, because it's directed by Alfonso Cuarón, who did Gravity.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
That's cool.
He's an amazing director. Yeah.
Well, I mean, there are a lot of elements I liked in that, with the time turner and all that. But we digress. This is not a Harry Potter podcast, although I could have one. That is, I am a nerd with that. But
Sleeping with Harry Potter.
Sleeping with Harry. Yes. Oh my God! If I ever got Daniel Radcliffe in my bed.
Yeah.
Oh, that would be awesome. Ooh, I know. I'm getting hot. You see, you're making me feel all these emotions in bed, Stephen. You're making me cry. You're making me laugh. You're making me think about.
I like it when girls think that Daniel Radcliffe's attractive because he's shorter than me.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, and I love it when girls find short guys attractive. Like Tom Cruise, Daniel Radcliffe.
Seth Green.
Oh, yeah.
I used to when I was growing up, for some reason, I had a crush as a kid, on Seth Green.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, that was my weird celebrity crush.
Yeah, he was cute in Austin Powers.
I think that's what I had seen him in, and I thought it was cute.
Yeah.
He does a lot of voice stuff now, I think.
Yeah, the robot.
Do you ever do voice stuff? Ever done voiceover stuff?
No, I don't know if I have. I feel like I should.
I feel like you should.
I got really insecure because I got my wisdom teeth taken out, and I feel like it's affected my ability to do impressions.
What?
I know it's probably in my head.
One of my favorite things of yours. I think one of the first things I saw, the first time I saw you did a bit entirely in Spanish, and I was like, is he Spanish? I didn't know. I didn't know who you were at the time. Yeah. It was at a mic, and I was like, this is hilarious, but I didn't quite get it at first. But that's still one of my favorite bits of yours is the Spanish impressions.
I did that because I was bored at an open mic. And everyone saw me do all of my bits, so I just did my whole set in Spanish one night.
You're fluent, yeah?
Yeah. Just because I was bored, and then it ended up becoming like a thing that I like doing.
Well, I like how you incorporate music, and you always brought your little speaker and stuff to mics, or you still do, I guess. But so where did you start to go into the experimental stuff? When you started, were you always doing that kind of thing, or doing more straight stand up? How did you transition from that stand up to the experimental stuff? Because I think that's really interesting.
Yeah, I think Chicago forced me to do it. I think it's when you move here, it's so hard to stand out, and I was also just having a hard time finding my voice. And one night I was just so I used to work at a Sprint store where they sold those speakers, and I always used to play with them. I always have fart machine or laugh track and stuff.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah,
see, like I said, I think you were like a prankster. I love that.
Yeah, and then I was like, you know what? No one's laughing at any of my jokes, so I'm just going to buy this expensive Bluetooth speaker and just add a laugh track at the end of all my jokes. So that's what I did.
Oh my God, that's what you did? And what did people do? Where'd you do it first? Do you remember?
Yeah, it was at Power Hour.
You did it at Power Hour?
Yeah, I did it first at Power Hour, and my joke didn't go well. A few seconds later, I pressed the laugh button, and then that gets a huge laugh.
The laugh button got the laugh.
The laugh button got the laugh, and then I just kept doing it at mics, and then that's what people would remember me by, and then I would just play with it. I bought a laptop. I learned how to use auto-tune on GarageBand, and I just went from there.
That's awesome. Self-taught. I what I liked about your stuff is that it's so different. There's nobody else that's doing this kind of stuff. And I feel like if anyone did come up with a speaker thing, they'd be like, oh, they're just trying to be Stephen King.
Yeah, I get worried about that. I mean, I always encourage people to try to do as much different comedy as they can, but
yeah, I agree. I think that people should try different things. And do you consider yourself you do character stuff too? So you've done characters stuff for my show. You do characters and different bits too. I kind of feel like your stand-up kind of bridges character and stand-up at the same time.
Yeah, it wasn't like that on purpose. Literally, like, that's what I do that makes me feel comfortable and makes me be myself.
Yeah, I guess for me, sometimes I wonder when I see you, like, perform, like, if you're doing like, the whole bit about your mom,
Oh, yeah.
And be like, I'm just kidding, she's not broke. I'm sorry, I'm ruining all your jokes.
No, it's right.
But, like, so, like, when I first heard you, I was like, wait, so, so it's, like, about figuring out, like, where does the truth line end?
Yeah, it's like, I think it's the whole thing of, like, pulling pranks on people.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's I just enjoy the art of misdirection.
So you a Kaufman fan?
Big, but that he wasn't one of those guys that, like, inspired me. Like, I liked him after I started doing comedy, but all the stuff that I was doing just came natural, and then eventually, like, I realized that there was other people that were doing weird stuff like me.
Yeah.
You know what's weird? I was talking to Nick Martin, another weirdo. And I had this conversation, like, the stuff that we do, we don't consider it being weird. We think that's normal, and everybody else thinks it's weird.
Yeah, it's like, that's like how when I say, like, it's normal for me to just want to sleep all the time. Everyone else thinks that's weird, but for me, that's normal.
It's normal. Yeah, like, when I do, like, the bits, I don't think of, like, I don't see myself as, like, a weird alternative comedian. I'm just like, I'm just being, like, I'm doing what I have to do so I can feel
like yourself,
normal, like myself. Yeah,
that's good. I mean, that's what I like about comedy. You gotta find your own way to do it and what works for you and find your voice. And that's what I like about comedy. There's so many different avenues to do it. You want to do a video, if you have a funny idea but it doesn't work in stand-up, do a video sketch in it, or create a character, or create a whole damn show. It's a rock show or a rap show.
Yeah, whatever feels natural. Like, when I came up with, like, Steezus, it wasn't like I had to make something or new or original or whatever superlatives people have, like, used. Literally, it was like, I listened to this new Kanye West album and I have to make fun of it. I wouldn't feel comfortable if I didn't make fun of it.
Some greater power is forcing you to move forward and make fun of this album.
If I don't do this, I'm going to be unhappy. I have, like, it was just something.
I love that there's, like, a natural force that's just like, you have to, because I think that's when you could tell that you're really supposed to do something. When you wake up in the morning, that's the first thing you think about. You're like, I have to do this.
Yeah. That's how I messaged when I did it the first time at I.O. That's how I messaged Alex, the guy that runs and books, like, the shows. It was like, Alex, I know this sounds weird, but I have to do this show. Like, you have to let me do this show. And it was weird, and I said that without having had anything written.
But sometimes I think an idea can be strong enough. Like, there are some things that, like, I've been working on that I know, like, that was an idea, now it's not an idea anymore, now it's a fully fleshed out thing. But when I had some ideas, you're like, oh, this is going to be a big thing for me. It's going to show where I can go with this.
Yeah.
And, like, that's something me and Paz have been working on for a while. We're going to film a web series sometime in the next coming months for it. But it's like, we have to do it. Whether or not it becomes a thing or not, we have to do it just for us.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be for anybody else. Like for you, is it mostly just you for Steezus, or is it other people too?
No, I think making Steezus is, like, very, like, therapeutic for me. Like, is that what you're asking?
Yeah, like, I mean, so, I meant, like, for the show itself, are you you're on stage the whole time like a Kanye would be?
Yeah, sometimes I'll bring, like, special guests and, like, some surprise cameos, and I'll have, like, some of my favorite stand-up comics, like, open the show. It's mainly just me doing a bunch of songs, doing little skits, I just pretend to be Kanye West for 30 minutes.
Are you gonna cut out at the, like, 2 minutes out and say you have to leave for a family emergency?
Yeah.
Although I will say I do respect the man for doing that.
That's very topical.
Because he did the right thing. Like if somebody you know and love is like being to completely stop the show and be like, I have to be there right now.
Yeah.
Like that. I do respect that, because that's something that was a legit emergency. It wasn't a bullshit emergency.
And he postponed a bunch of his shows, but he didn't postpone the one this Friday.
Oh, are you going?
Of course.
Where is that
at? At the United Center.
Oh, yeah? You got tickets? You should...
Me and Bay seeing yay.
I've never seen him live, but apparently it's inspiring.
It's the funniest show I've ever seen.
Yeah.
It's the funniest show I've ever seen. I saw the Yeezus Experience.
Funnier than any comedy show?
It's funnier than any Second City show. It's the funniest. It's the I loved it. I was obsessed with it. That was another reason why I had to make a parody of the concert.
You should just tweet at him until he does something with you.
Nothing would make me happier to have him a part of him or Chance the Rapper to be a part of the show. But if they ever dream scenario, if they ever do, I'm gonna give them the smallest parts.
Oh God, I have a friend. He was telling me, he's a Soho House member, right? He's in LA. He was telling me how he once played Kanye West in Soho House at ping pong, and he won. And the next week, there was no longer a ping pong table at Soho House in LA.
That's amazing. I love that.
It's he beat him at ping pong.
That's amazing.
And I think that is just so funny.
Kanye hangs out at Soho House?
I guess Soho House LA. I don't know about I've only been to the one in Chicago, and I went as a guest. I'm not
I went as a guest too. It was amazing.
I thought it was pretty fucking awesome, and I don't know. I kind of want to check out the ones in LA and New York, just to see. But I heard that Chicago, because it's the newest, is the nicest one.
It is nice. Do you feel like people diet there? Everyone there is so rich that they just kill people for fun?
I would imagine more that maybe they had endangered species on the menu.
Oh, I bet. Yeah,
something like that.
Zebra burgers or something.
Something crazy like that.
Yeah, it was crazy. I felt like I was in a MTV music video the whole time.
What I did appreciate, what I like about that is that you actually have to pay attention. You can't be on your phone. You can't take pictures. You can't, Oh,
I didn't know that.
They have all these rules. So Soho House, you're not allowed to approach someone you don't know. So if it's a celebrity that you personally don't know, you're not allowed to go up to them and talk to them.
Wow.
You're not allowed to... if it's a natural thing where you guys are playing ping pong or whatever. But, and then you're not allowed to take any photos. You're not allowed to be talking on your phone. You're allowed to text, but you can't take any photos, and they will kick you out. And then, because you're attached to a member, so then that member could get blacklisted or something like that. There's all these rules. They're very, very strict about it.
Whoa, I didn't.
Because the whole reason people like Kanye will go there is because they know people aren't allowed to approach them unless they know them.
Oh, wow.
So if you don't know Kanye, you don't approach him.
Yeah.
And so it's a weird respect thing when it comes to celebrity, which is why people like to do that, because it's only it's really expensive. I think it's $3,000 a year or something like that.
Yeah, it's insane. Yeah.
But in terms of I don't know. I guess it's a very fancy club, I guess.
Yeah, ridiculous.
Who else are your big influences, inspirations, even if they don't expect to be?
My comedy inspirations?
Mm-hmm. Well, in general, like you said, Kanye, he was a comedy inspiration to you without meaning to be.
I got Steve Jobs.
Yeah. Are they all Steves?
No, they're not all Steve.
That would be hilarious. That'd be a great...
Steve Jobs, Steve Gutenberg.
Steve Wozniak.
Yeah. Michael Jackson.
Okay.
I go on stage and I say Michael Jackson's the reason I do stand-up, and people always laugh at that, but that's true.
Why is he the reason you do stand-up?
Because he's a performer. He's I saw him perform on stage, and I was like, wow, I wish I knew how to do that.
Yeah.
I wish I could figure out a way how I can control a crowd like that guy.
But he's also been performing since he was a really little kid.
Yeah.
I wish I was doing comedy sooner. I wish I'd, like I said, I wish some people I meet that Brad Rickard, who did his first comedy stuff when he was 14, or someone like Bo Burnham, and you know, doing all this stuff,
Yeah. Well, it's good to start young, but I think the problem though is like when you I'm glad that like the thing, all of like any like type of success that I have happened at an age where I'm like a little bit more mature than I was when, as opposed to being like 18 or 19 years old. Because I'd feel like I'd just screw it up or like self-sabotage it by just being like immature.
Oh yeah, that could happen. Yeah. I could see that.
Like I saw Bo Burnham's last special, and I think he just seems so like
burnt out.
I think maybe like a little bit, yeah. Like he's done everything. What else is there for him to do?
There's so much.
But that's how he came across, like in his last special. But yeah, I have a lot of respect for him. And I don't know if you saw his last special, but
I didn't, but I've seen some of his earlier stuff. I think that there is a interesting balance for trying to please the crowd, because the crowd's going to come see you because of what you've done in the past, and also try to create yourself forge a new way for you in comedy. So I think that's a hard balance for some people to find.
I think it's important as a performer to remind yourself why you do it in the first place as much as you possibly can.
Yeah.
Because it's so easy to get jaded. It's so easy to, I think, feel competitive, or just thinking like you're doing comedy for the wrong reasons. I think you gotta go back to what made you want to do it in the first place. For me, like I can go back and be like, watching Conan O'Brien, like late night Conan O'Brien, and being like, I don't know how that guy's making those people laugh, but I want to figure out how that is.
Yeah.
Or even seeing like Michael Jackson perform, be like, I want to see how, I want to explore if I can command like a crowd and bring that type of energy to every show that I can. Like if I'm able to give that, and dream scenario is like the way how I'm talking about those performers. Maybe, just maybe, somebody will say that about me.
Yeah.
Somebody will say that about you. Like how could I do that?
To be able to inspire a whole new people, a whole new group of comedians that want to try all these other even weirder things,
and you paved the way for so many other people to explore and just make the. I know this. I don't hate to use hyperboles, but like, I don't know, help the world make a better place. Like,
I agree. I think I think comedy is actually one of the best ways to create social change, to be honest, because I think it's a way of sharing a point of view, and people aren't as defensive when exploring that point of view because it's done comedically.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's a little bit easier for people to slowly be evolving on ideas and topics.
But look, even from like a performance standpoint, like look what you're doing for the people that you're performing for. You're giving them escapism. Like the same escapism that I feel like when I go to Disneyland and I go to
or Harry Potter
or Harry Potter World, or you go to one of those rides and it's not just a roller coaster. You're in line and you're part of an experience. You forget that you're from Oklahoma, that you live in a shitty studio apartment. All of a sudden you're part of this experience, and you get lost in that. And like if I could provide that type of escapism for somebody, where they're not thinking about the fact that they're late in rent, or they're having marital problems, or they have bad grades, and if I could provide that escapism where they're not thinking about that at that very moment, I mean that's the best thing I could do. That's what I'm meant to do.
Yeah. I don't think I could say that better. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I completely agree.
As opposed to thinking like, why am I not on this show, or why am I not doing this, or why am I not doing that?
I feel like a lot of people do this to feed their own ego versus to do it to create something for themselves.
Yeah,
or they do it to try to get laid. I don't know.
I'm guilty of like the worst shows I've done, or like the worst decisions I've ever made were all because of my ego, which is huge. and I've been able to sometimes put that to the side and be like, that's okay, that ego thing, that thing is not important, but giving to people as much as possible, that's what's important. You have to remind yourself that you're providing a service, that you're not just doing this to feed whatever insecurity that you have, and supplement it with fake happiness.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's important to say things, and that's why I end up talking about the narcolepsy a lot, because I feel like whenever I do shows, it's like, it's been like when I do shows where I don't know anybody or anything, like I'll have somebody that comes up to me, it's like, oh, I have it, or I have a friend that has it, or I think I was, I thought I had it, but then I wasn't diagnosed, and I talked to them, I'm like, no, I'm pretty sure you have it, get rechecked, I had that happen the other day. This girl at Annoyance came up to me, and she's like, yeah, because doctors don't want to diagnose people and stuff, and so like it's like a weird way of getting a little awareness, but I don't always want to be talking about narcolepsy, but it's just like a little weird thing that makes me feel so good when someone's like, oh yeah, like I have this other thing.
Something that you could connect with, relate to. Yeah. That's super important. Yeah. To have someone you could share that with.
Or to share like a joke that came out of like a really painful experience that happened in your life, and people are laughing about it, and you're like, oh, that experience feels a little less painful every time.
Yeah, absolutely. And those are some of my favorite bits that I get to see perform on stage, is to see someone who is so vulnerable and who is willing to express themselves in that way, because you immediately have the audience hooked, because it's like, wow, the audience perspective is like, thank you so much for sharing that. Like, I might have gone through a similar experience too, and you got to articulate it in a way that I probably haven't or can't.
Yeah, I think that's always good. Yeah, but I feel like sometimes it's like, sometimes I need to take like a night or two off of comedy and just like do something else so that I have more stuff to write about.
Yeah, no, I same here. I have when I don't think of comedy, I'm spending time with my girlfriend watching Judd Apatow movies, or going out to eat at a restaurant, and that helps me get out of my head sometimes.
Judd Apatow helps you get out of your head?
Yeah, or just, I deep down I'm always going to be like a movie guy, so like watching movies, watching TV shows always helps me get out of my head. That's
good. Yeah, I think like going out and like being with other people and interacting, like that helps me I think talking to other people, getting out and doing something that's not related sometimes helps, like going to see a music show, or going to an art gallery or something.
Yeah. I wish I spent more time with my friends. I feel like I don't do enough of that, and I don't know why. Maybe hey friends, are you listening? Please hang out with me.
I feel like I couldn't imagine, like, because I still feel like I don't hang out with my friends as much, and I mean, and I still, some of the stand-up ones I see all the time, but I feel like my other friends that aren't in comedy slowly like are drifting apart,
Yeah.
And it's something I try to actively avoid doing that, but it's hard because we're in this lifestyle, and that's kind of what happens.
We get busier and busier, and we're so focused on ourselves, and if I'm not spending time doing comedy, working on something, doing a show, going to an open mic, then I am spending that time with my girlfriend. So it's...
See, I couldn't imagine doing all this with a significant other. Like, I was kind of dating someone a little bit, but I was like, he wanted something more serious, and I was like, I don't know if I can do that, I don't know time-wise, and I felt bad. And then I thought about it, and I was like, well, maybe I'll give it a shot. And then he's like, no, you're right, you're too busy.
I'm very lucky that my girlfriend, she's a aspiring TV writer and screenwriter, so we're both kind of like in the same field,
but not competing.
Yeah,
those are the best relationships. I've talked to a few people about this. Seems like dating someone that's also in a creative field but not directly competing with what you're doing. is a good balance. Because I've heard way too many stories of girls who dated guys in stand-up, and once they started doing better than them, the guy could not handle it.
Yeah, and sometimes vice versa. Like, I hate when I don't hate it. It's, you be your own person, you can make your own decisions, but, like, when my friends are dating other comedians, I'm usually like, why?
Well,
is it because it's so hard to meet people outside of the comedy scene?
Well, it's that, and also it's just hard to get people to understand. As a girl, I will say that if you date a guy that's a muggle, a non-comedy person, he doesn't quite. I mean, maybe there are some guys that understand, but they don't quite. They're like, oh, so you hang out with mostly dudes, and sometimes you hang out with them till like 2 a.m., but they're just friends, right? Like, guys don't understand that that's just like our lifestyle. That's the time we hang out. Like, we'll smoke weed or drink or whatever on a Monday night till 3 a.m., and that's just a thing you do with friends, and that's the time you hang out.
Yeah.
And I've definitely had issues in the past with guys that I was dating that didn't understand that, and they also, like, I don't know. I as a girl, I feel like there's more issues with that, but also it's about having someone that has the same schedule as you. If the person doesn't have the same schedule, or like I have another friend who, like, he doesn't have a lot of his own other stuff, like her boyfriend, and so when she has to go to a comedy show, she almost feels guilty because he's at home alone, not doing it,
Yeah.
So it's like, I think you have to date a creative person that has their own ambitions, because then hey, if I got my thing to do, you got your thing to do, we're both doing that, and that's cool.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And it's not instant. Like, it takes work to make sure, like, you have to have talks about it and be like, like, my girlfriend and I, we're each other's cheerleader. But it's not like that happened overnight. It took work to do that, to realize, that it's important that to know that if one's successful, we're both successful, and if one of us is in the poops, it's the other person's job to lift them up.
That's one thing I do miss about being in a relationship. I think someone understanding you to that level, and to knowing you so well that they can, like, get you out of that rut or push you forward.
Yeah. It's always it's work, but it's just having somebody there next to me that's not completely connected to the comedy world like I am and all my friends are. It's super healthy for me.
Yeah. I feel like some people can just be so in it and they don't look outside of it, and that's a hard thing. And I feel like I'm that way sometimes.
I'm guilty.
I feel like sometimes I'm like, oh, wow.
Yeah.
I don't remember last time I had a conversation with somebody that's not in comedy.
Yeah, no, I know. I'm guilty of that. Yeah, I'm guilty. Like, some conversations I have with some people, it just seems like we're exchanging all of our big sales,
Oh, really?
Or where it's very much like, oh, you did this show, oh, I did that show, you did this show, I did that show, and and then at some point I just want to be like, my God, like, what's the last movie you saw?
When was the last time you cried?
Yeah, like tell me that is, like, way more interesting than having this
surfacey conversation.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. Like, I hear, like, I think LA is a little bit more like that, like, wanting to know who you know and where you've been and all that. I feel like a lot of people talk like that in LA, but not everybody.
Yeah.
There are some people in LA I really like, so.
Not looking forward to that.
Have you been in New York yet?
Yeah, I love New York.
Yeah.
I love New York. I'm going to LA in 2 weeks, and I'm nervous. I'm nervous that I'm not gonna like it.
The first time I went to LA, which is a little less than a year ago for comedy, I thought I was gonna hate it. I thought I was gonna hate it because everyone talks about how, like, crappy LA is, and I really liked it.
Yeah.
The sun is out every day. It's like a perfect day every single day.
Yeah.
People want to go out and do things. You want to go hiking. You want to go see people, and it's nice. And people are pretty nice. People are friendly.
Yeah.
I really liked it. The only thing that sucks is the bars, all of the bars close at 2.
Oh, really?
Yeah. That's like the thing I was like, oh, this sucks. Because there's no, like, even on a Saturday night, the 2 a.m. bar doesn't stay open until 3 like it does here. It's always 2.
Yeah.
But, I mean, everyone...
And culture change. Yeah.
Everyone there, and the traffic isn't that bad. If you've driven in Chicago, it's about the same. And the only thing is people are like, there's no parking. There is parking, but people just don't want to walk further than 2 blocks, which makes no sense because it's perfectly 75 degrees out. It's not like it's, negative 30 like it is here. It's just, like, so different. Like,
that's crazy.
I think the reason I liked LA is because it felt like such a breath of fresh air from Chicago.
Yeah.
Because I've been here so long, and I was like, oh, wow.
Yeah.
So different. I could see mountains, and there's a beach, and there's all these other things,
And that stuff, just being around it just instantly makes you happier.
I think maybe because the sun's out more. I don't know. Like, I feel like it did have that weird effect. And I honestly felt a little bit more awake. I don't know if the sunlight or whatever or time change. It just...
That could be.
I was waking up earlier. Or maybe it was just the adrenaline of being... Yeah.
You're waking up earlier because of the time change.
Maybe. But, I mean, I still... doesn't matter for me. It's a very weird thing. But...
How long were you there?
I was there... The first time I was there for, like... 6 or 7 days, and then I went on a last minute trip this June for like just a couple days, like 3 or 4.
Nice.
And then I think I might go again this November, December.
Nice.
So to check it out, I'm gonna go to New York to check it out in early November. So
yeah,
just for like a 4 days or something, and just see how I like it.
New York is awesome.
I'm sure it is. I think I would like New York too.
Yeah.
Well, as we're winding down the podcast, I always ask people the same question to end with, because, it's a little bit of a sleep theme, so I always ask you what your dreams are for the future. For yourself.
Dreams? My dream is to strive to be more myself as a performer and in person, and not to play a facade or pretend to be someone to make other people happy.
Right on, man. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, now we're going to the end of the podcast. I always end with us going to sleep. So good night, everybody.
Good night. Thank you.
Thanks for listening to Sleeping with Sarah, where I slept with Stephen King. You can catch Stephen tonight in LA on the Comedy Central stage at 8 p.m. for Steezus, The Life of Papa John, and tomorrow night, October 20th, at the Hollywood Improv for Comedians You Should Know. If you like the podcast, please rate and review on iTunes and subscribe. This podcast is brought to you by Audible.com. Please go to audibletrial.com/sleepingwithsarah. I'm releasing a new podcast each week. Be sure to tune in to find out who I have in bed with me next. Thanks to Josh Bryant for the music. You can also view the video on YouTube or follow me on Twitter @Sarah Albritton. Until next time, good night.